This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Final hour on a Friday here on VSiN By The Books. Jensen Lewis, Keith Irizarry in for Super Dave Ross, who will be back with us in his customary post on Monday morning. So I get the great privilege now, Keith, of bringing in one of our favorite guests here on the program, a man about town, the About Business podcast. If you are not a subscriber, you need to. He is the great Lou Finocchiaro, joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow him on social media at GamLou. Buddy, it is always fun to catch up with you. And anytime I get to do a little accent, we have some fun with it. So UFC 315 tomorrow night at the Bell Center, a card that some may call incroyable for you French out there. Buddy, we get a welterweight title at the top of the card on the main event here. Give us your breakdown. Belal Muhammad, minus $1.92 favorite on the money line. But again, a very intriguing matchup stylistically here for the main card. All right, we'll get Lou
we lost his mic for
here
a
in just a
second.
moment. Yeah, we'll get him unmuted here in just a moment.
It happens. All right, while we wait for him, can we go back to so you have like French accents now too. So I'm learning a lot this week on this show. I learned that Grace Remington can do accents. I'm learning about Dave Ross and his affinity for Dallas and the fact that he may never come back again because George Pickens is now a wide receiver for the Cowboys and he made a stop there. I knew about your baseball proclivity, but now I'm learning about your accents and stuff like this. This is impressive. Are we gonna find out that like someone else in the show is like an opera singer or something? Is Brandon, our producer, he's an opera singer? Is that what we're going to find out?
Yeah, oh God, if he is, we need that video ASAP. But Grace Remington gone again on with me Monday and Tuesday. She has some musicals and performances upcoming, and so she's had to practice, the English accent. And so I was saying it'd be great because we had Billy Body obviously on Tuesday. We had him on again today. That once she gets that figured out and kind of into a groove, that she was going to send us some video so that we could have Billy compare that. So in the coming weeks, we will do that. But this has always been fun. And I said that you'll appreciate this too. Once we had the London series for Major League Baseball, it was great because they had, from the radio call, they had some of the English announcers that were doing the baseball game. And so that's always been something for me watching Premier League, watching international soccer. I've always wanted to hear just that kind of accent come through. And I believe we do have Lou back here on the Progressive Guest Line. Lou, Keith was just saying that he did not realize that I have multiple accents. So as I said, a card incroyable here for UFC 315. We go right to the top. Give us your breakdown of the title fight and how you think this one will play out.
Yeah, thanks again for having patience with my technology, guys. This great stylistic matchup. Muhammad, first defense of his welterweight title. He can strike adequately and maybe a little bit better than adequately, but he's no fluid striker. He's a wrestler grappler. He takes your distance away and wears you out with unrelenting forward pressure, with his head constantly plastered on your chest so you have no room to strike. Della Maddalena comes with very little wrestling acumen. He's really struggled in an earlier fight against Basil Hafez, and that's where we saw the chink in his armor. He's slick, strong, powerful striker, will have advantage on the feet, and where this fight takes place will tell us a lot about who's it has advantage in this fight. Muhammad opened minus 175. It went way up, then down a little below that number. Now I see Muhammad minus 190, 195. I think that's an accurate depiction of a fight that looks to go to a decision, and I would lean Belal Muhammad. More than lean, we've taken Muhammad in this position. I think he has great advantage.
Lou, you got a couple of women's flyweight matches on the main card. The title tilt is probably the headliner there. How do you see it playing out?
Another great stylistic matchup, Shevchenko, the champion in numerous divisions. She's fought the elite of the elite and arguably is the women's mixed martial arts GOAT. Yes, I put her at or above Amanda Nunes, no question about it. But she's 37. She flies in jets. She wears designer clothes. Those are corrodants for world-class fighters. And even though she's been able to maintain her position on the top, she fights a girl that's big, strong, young striker, less equipped mixed martial arts weaponry-wise. But I think the key here is Valentina's advantage in wrestling is going to be hard to employ because of the size of Firo. I don't see Valentina getting the French woman to the canvas, and for that reason, I lean to the French woman as a legit favorite, even though she's fighting the champion.
And Lou, and there is a little bit of connection here with another one of the women's flyweights, Alexa Grasso against Natalia Silva. My notes here, I put down with Grasso, skilled boxer, submission ability, and again, she's going to try and rebound here, but Silva is probably aiming for a title opportunity, or at least an opportunity to go up and show what she's made of. Again, minus 250, Silva is on the money line, Grasso plus 205 on the comeback. Intriguing, right? Another intriguing stylistic fight for me as I look at it on this main card.
Absolutely. And then this one's a little bit more two strikers. Grasso, ex-champion, just coming off of 3 tough Valentina fights. That would prove her worthy of anyone all by itself. Boxer, strength, granite chin, everything a Mexican fighter has, Grasso has. Her feet maybe could be a little more deft and nimble. On the other side, you have Natalia Silva, and she is stepping way up in class. This is a huge step up for her, but she's very attractive, and you can see the UFC's got her all dialed up and made. She looks beautiful in the stare downs, and you get a beautiful girl against and Grasso's a cute young lady. You could see Grasso, that Mexican fighter, seething when the other gal, Silva, came out for the stare downs, all dialed up, makeup, the whole bit. Silva's got the feet. She must have distance. Grasso must take the distance away, and if she can, I think she'll pummel Silva. However, if Silva can maintain the distance, she has lethal kicks and great striking from range, and it could be tough for Grasso to get in. I used Grasso. However, this fight opened a pick, and they've steamed Natalia Silva to this 250. I don't buy it, but I've been wrong more than once.
No, I don't agree with you on that. You've never been wrong. Lou, let's go to the prelims now. Is there a fight that really stands out to you that you said, I need to pay attention to this one, and I maybe have a lean on it?
Yeah, a couple of them. We'll start with the first one listed, and I should say at the bottom, Katona against Alma Khan. Alma Khan comes in younger, bigger, stronger, more explosive, but green. He's coming off a loss to Umar Nurmagomedov, in which case his stock rose because he fought so well. Meanwhile, Katona, journeyman, second trip into the UFC, tough, durable, more singularly dimensioned as a wrestler, decent hands, but he's tough. He's a Canadian. He's fighting in Canada, and he's the underdog here, probably in a fight that should be, I think, priced a little closer to pick him. Katona is very tough and durable, never been finished. This fight goes to decision. As well, this fight is lined at 2.5, over 300 or so. We know it's going to decision. And for those of you that live in a state where you can take points, Katona plus 3.5 is like a thief in the night. I really, really like that position. For those of you in Nevada where legalized gambling has yet to arrive, well, then you're going to have to just take Katona on the straight dog price of plus 130, plus 135-ish. But he's live in this fight. Then the next one, we have 2 Eastern European fighters taking on one another. A Moldovan in Ion Kutalaba, who's a cross-eyed madman, all offense, power. But in his last few fights, he's gained a little perspective, a little IQ, and he's using his wrestling grappling more. On the other side of the cage, a Lithuanian, Modestas Bukauskas, long, tall, angular, a little more of a striker, but can grapple too. Not the wrestler that Cutelaba is. This fight's been lined at pick all week long, going back and forth. This is one you don't want to miss. But because of the wrestling, I'm going to lean to Cutelaba. I see currently priced minus 110 to minus 115-ish.
Absolutely love it. Buddy, before we jump into some college baseball, we'd be remiss if we didn't be able to visit with you on that. Besides About Business Podcast, where can everyone find you and get all your great content, your picks as well?
Thank you so much. One-stop shop for me is gamblu.com, and there you can find out everything I do, the few sports I work. I try and narrow focus to increase expertise. I also do a podcast on Mondays called The Sneak Deep. It's an opening line report on the UFC fight for that week. My podcasts are no longer than 10 minutes.
Absolutely love it. Okay, buddy, I was in Coral Gables this past week watching maybe the hottest team in college baseball right now, the Miami Hurricanes. They look like it'd be a force to be reckoned with. Got about 30 seconds with you. Give me some teams you're eyeing potentially to add to that portfolio to get to Omaha.
I'm an Arizona fan, so I'm going to look at Arizona a little bit. I think you got to, Mississippi's played decent lately. Dallas Baptist been knocking on the door to get to Omaha for a few years. This might be the year that they kick that door in and go through it. And then a couple teams that have been to regional, super regional, haven't been there yet, and they're more northerly. Maybe look at a Duke. You might even look at an East Carolina. I see your Miami still priced at 10-1 to make it to the College World Series. I'm not sure if I believe in Miami just yet, but I do believe in Arizona and Dallas Baptist. And depending on where they get situated in their regionals, I may be more.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
Fabulous to catch up with our man Lou Finocchiaro. Excellent preview of UFC 315. Again, give him a follow at Gamblu, the About Business podcast, and it is a one-stop shop, as he said, Keith. So many great angles, and he's got the pulse of college baseball too. So some great things to tail on him. All right, I went through the futures board on Major League Baseball and just picked maybe a menu, if you will, of certain futures. If you haven't jumped in and added really any to your playoff portfolio, these were numbers that stuck out to me. So let's start in the to make the playoff market. I put 5 teams down, but intrigued your thoughts on this list. Rangers minus $1.10, Twins plus $1.85, Blue Jays plus 310, Athletics plus 450, and one team that Dave and I really love, the Reds, 5-1 to make the postseason. Of those teams, which ticket would you pick to add to your futures portfolio?
Well, it's nice to be aligned with you and Dave, because I would go Reds, right? One, obviously, whenever you're doing this, you're looking for value, right? So 5-1 odds right away jumps out to you, and you like that better than the other ones. I'm there, right? So I think the Central is winnable. And the way you kind of got to look at the NL Central is the fact that the Cubs are good, not great. The Brewers are good and not great. And the Reds have a plus 30 run differential going into last night. They were 19-19. They're a pretty solid baseball team. Now, obviously, the Hunter Green injury, we got to wonder what that becomes down the road and if that affects this team. But the Reds would be the one that would intrigue me.
Caught up with Mark Kotze, manager of the Athletics, the other day on MLB Network Radio Series Channel 89, and I am very intrigued by the Athletics plus 450. I don't know if I can get there, but man, do they have a lot of great pieces right now. The pitching staff is really good, maybe better than people realize. So if you wanted to take a stab on a longer number, I like them. The Twins at plus 185 too. If they could really stay healthy, that's a team that could get going quickly, pile up some series victories. But you, me, Dave, we're all rooting for the Redlegs, 5-1 right now to make the postseason. Division futures are intriguing as well at the moment. I did pick the Mariners to win the American League West. They are down to even money at this point as they currently lead that division. The Phillies to win the National League East are plus $1.85. And then the Brewers to win the National League Central, a little bit more of a longer shot at plus 425. The Cubs currently leading that by a handful of games. Of those 3 tickets, which would you add to your futures portfolio?
So again, even money is not something I typically would do, but if these are the 3 options I have, I like the Mariners to win the AL West. You've got Wu that you highlighted earlier in the week, and you love him. I like Luis Castillo. I think most people do. So you got the potent 1-2 punch from a pitching staff there, and then Munoz has yet to give up an earned run as a closer. He's got 13 saves. I think this is a team that can hit and will hit. I like the Mariners.
I think it's great. And again, I believe that West will certainly be heard from with the Rangers and potentially the Astros as well. I mentioned the Athletics are off to a great start and are highly competitive. Remember, the Athletics are second in the division right now for people scoring at home. I would look at the Phillies. And again, I picked the Braves to win the National League East. They've actually rebounded quite well from a dismal start to their season. But the Phillies, the pedigree, and it's got a little last dance feel to it, Keith, because of all the impending free agents and potentially Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto. They have an aging pitching staff with Nola. Zach Wheeler, again, has been in prime form, but you're starting to get up there in age and miles on the odometer. So they really need to address their bullpen. If they find answers back there, Dave Dombrowski has been very, very aggressive when he needs to at the trade deadline. Anxious to see the moves they make, so not a bad price there to win the National League East. Now, I used the division numbers when I was considering also to win your respective American or National League numbers too. I mentioned the Rangers. Okay, they have yet to really hit their stride offensively. At 9-1, with the pitching staff that they've assembled, I think they're pretty live at that number. 9-1 to win the American League. I mentioned the Braves as I have them in pocket to win the National League East, but their number to win the National League still very advantageous at plus 950. Then we get into 2 longer shots here. The Diamondbacks lying in the weeds, if you will, at 15-1. And depending on where that wild card draw could be, and we are assuming here the Dodgers win the division. Diamondbacks 15-1. They could get on a roll. Great top of the rotation with Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen. We know what Corbin Carroll's done thus far. The Twins at 21, I mentioned, making the postseason. But I think in an American League, Keith, that's very even across the board. That's a team to back. And for people that joined us before the season, I had the Tigers at 13-1 to win the American League. That number is now down to plus 475. I have the Padres at 13-1 and the Brewers at 22-1 in pocket. So again, just the diversification of your portfolio at this point. Keith, of those numbers, which one do you like?
I like a lot of what you did there. So I would give my lean towards the Atlanta Braves. Because if you take away the first 2 weeks of the season, they've actually been a really good baseball team, right? And we also know that, Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be coming back. The word is by the end of May, even if they slow play him in. Think about it. You're getting an MVP back into your lineup. The team is starting to hit. Austin Riley is starting to look like Austin O'Reilly again. Ozuna hits home runs. Albies is looking a little bit better. They've got a solid pitching staff. So at plus 950, you got to look at who they would have to beat, right? So the Dodgers, I know they won last year, but they've had, a track record of falling short in the postseason. The New York Mets, the question will obviously be about their pitching staff once they get into the postseason. Will that pitching staff be enough to win them series? I don't know. Maybe not. That would open a door for the Braves. The Phillies, you talked about the whole last dance thing. Who knows? Maybe they go out with a bang or they go out with a whimper. So you can kind of go through the National League and can find a pathway for the Braves to get to the top. So the Braves at plus 950 feels like the best odds for me.
Right now, and again, the way too early look at the postseason picture, Dodgers would be your 1 seed. Mets would be your 2 seed by virtue right now of a tiebreaker. And the intriguing part of the National League is how fast that the rest of the National League West teams have gotten out to start. The Padres are 23-13. They would be the number 1 wild card just by winning percentage over the San Francisco Giants at that point. And when you look at where the wild card standings are just initially, Padres would be 1, Giants 2, Phillies 3, Diamondbacks your first team on the outside looking in, just 2.5 games back of a postseason spot. That lends me into our World Series futures, and I played around with some exact matchups because I do feel that these are fun numbers. If you like some lottery tickets, these aren't as far-fetched maybe as people may think when you hear the odds. All right, so I went to the top of the board. Tigers and Phillies, my first exact matchup for a World Series. Keith, that's 45-1 currently. And not too far-fetched, right? With the pitching staffs of those respective teams are. Offensively, the Tigers have been hitting. We know the Phillies have a boatload in the tank there to be able to do. The second one I put together are two hot teams from the West, the Mariners and the Padres at 90-1. And then finally, the lottery ticket that maybe you can capture lightning in a bottle. The Royals, hottest team in Major League Baseball right now. The Diamondbacks we just talked about. Can I interest you at 223-1? At the moment, not too far-fetched considering the pedigree of what these two teams' potentials could look like.
Yeah, my gut reaction would be no thank you for the Royals and the Diamondbacks, even despite the fact that it's 223-1, because it takes two teams that are not expected to get there to both catch fire at the right time and get there. Jensen, have you worked with Dave Sharapan at all? Have you ever done any shows with him? All right, so Dave Sharapan, one of my good friends in this betting industry, works for a bunch of different networks, but also was an odds maker, a bookmaker in Vegas. That's how he got his career started in this field and then moved over into the broadcast side. Every year for baseball, what he does is he comes up with like a grid, and he has all these exact matchups, and he does all the math and comes up with like all the percentages and everything like that. He would love what you just did. I say all that to get to this. I feel like the Tigers and the Phillies makes the most sense. The Phillies have the workhorses to pitch. And again, if we're going to go on your last dance feeling, like, can they end by getting to the mountaintop, right? And the Tigers are just fun. They're playing great baseball right now. You've got Scooble. You've got a bunch of other players that you can kind of rally around. 45-1, that feels like it's worth me shelling out a few bucks for.
No doubt about it. And if you've been able to follow as a VSiN Pro subscriber, you obviously have a lot of these plays pre-flop from the season in pocket. If you are not a VSiN Pro subscriber, we highly encourage you to jump on because the special we're running right now, normally $240 for a year subscription. It's now just $199, and we're going to throw 2 extra months on there for free. Again, the promo code to sign up right now is PRO. VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code PRO to lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. Again, VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code PRO. 14 months for the price of just $199. Zach Cohen is on VSiN.com. He joins us next. So many great angles in the association. We'll get all his plays and thoughts next on VSiN By The Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
It's going to be another great night in the association. Jensen Lewis and Keith Irizarry in for Dave Ross. He'll be back with us in his customary post on Monday. Keith, always great to catch up. And I know Adam Shine just gives him all the crap in the world about his Twitter handle, his X handle. But we maintain here in a Lewis Ross administration that he should not change it. He should not cave to any outside pressure. He is none other than our very own Zach Cohen. Joins us on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow him, as we all do, at Betting on X. ZC, great to be with you. Thanks for taking the time today. This has been as wild a start to the round 2 iteration of this NBA postseason. Just 30,000-foot view, your biggest takeaway of what we've seen thus far.
I mean, just a genuine shock of the Celtics going down 0-2 and shooting 25 for 100 from 3 with the roster that they've built of just awesome 3-point shooters and what we've seen, win a title for them last year. Like, this is the same offense that we saw last year. I know, there's better basketball people than me saying that there's less wrinkles to that offense. There's less counters to that offense, but largely very similar to what they were running last year. What won them a title last year is now not working against the Knicks. And we are now questioning the way that they play because of it. It's just a little crazy.
Pacers and Cavs. I don't know a lot of people that thought the Cavaliers would be down 0-2 in this one. With that being said, is there still value to be had on the Pacers?
I think there's value tonight and in game 4 just because I really do think Indiana is going to win one of these 2 home games. So if you're getting plus money on both and they split, you're going to profit a little bit. Maybe it won't be much, but I do think that game 3 will be the best chance for the Pacers just because there's still a lot of uncertainty with the Cavaliers injury report. Hunter, Garland, and Mobley are all listed as questionable. And we now know that Kenny Atkinson believes that questionable and doubtful are very similar. It's, on the record now. So I don't know what the status is of those 3 players. If they don't have all 3 of them, it's going to be very difficult for them to win this game. I mean, I had the Pacers plus 2.5 in this series. I did not expect to win in the first 2 games, but I did think, looking back from January 1st on, there was very little that separated these teams in terms of record. The Cavaliers had 1 more win in that time. And efficiency differential, the Cavaliers were only a little bit better than Indiana. This Pacers team in December, after a really slow start to the season, revamped their defense, got a lot better at defending the 3-point line. And offensively, this is a really good team. This is also a team that I believe has a really a good home court advantage, which I don't think a lot of teams in the NBA have. So I'm expecting them to win one of these 2 and go up 3-1, and that's going to make it very difficult for the Cavaliers to win the series.
Zach, we surmised before we brought you on here that we would get at least some sort of injury news upcoming here in the next handful of hours at morning shoot around. I can tell you, since Keith and I started the show this morning, line was 2.5. It's now up to 3.5 in favor of the Cavaliers here. 73% of the bets, 88% of the handle. We talked with TG Thomas Gable down at the Borgata. He anticipates a lot of public recreational money coming in. Oh, Cavaliers can't go down. 03. I may be a little bit on the bias side here. I got Cavaliers money line at minus $1.35. I probably bet with my heart there, but hey, here we go. I mean, again, if you get 50 from Donovan Mitchell, you better win a game. So anxious to see what that injury report unveils here when we get to the afternoon. What we do know is that we saw the Thunder come back with just a vengeance, if you will. I mean, 87 points in the first half as they equalized this series against the Nuggets. We get game 3 at 10:05 Eastern tonight from the Mile High City. Thunder now a 5.5 point favorite, total of 232.5. You have a player prop that you like in this game, and then give me your thoughts on kind of how the rest of this series plays out in your eyes.
Yeah, so I have the Joker over 1.5 made threes tonight, and that's just a little bit of what we've seen all season long, where he averaged 2.0 made threes per game this season and is having his best 3-point shooting season of his career, and also he shoots his best at Ball Arena. So I think he's really comfortable in this building, and I said it in my VSiN.com preview. Because of the way the Thunder shoot the 3, they have a huge mathematical advantage every night. Other guys on Denver need to step up and shoot better. Joker's one of them. He's going to have to take more in this series. We've already seen him take a little bit more. Attempted 6 threes in game 1, attempted 4 3/4 in game 2 before, fouling out. Or I thought he was going to be benched anyway. But I do think that he's being a little bit more aggressive from the 3-point line because he needs to be, just to help his team's floor spacing. And just he has been accurate from there all season long. So I really like the price. It was minus 125 when I took it. And I will say, the Thunder, to me, are going to win this series in 6 or less. I think that we saw a really strong, bounce back in game 2 after a game 1 that they really probably should have won. They did not, play the end of that game the right way. I believe in fouling up 3. I don't believe in doing it as early as, Mark Dagnall did. And I don't believe in doing it when, Joker's off the floor and with 10 seconds left. Just make them create a good shot without the best player in basketball.
I've also found it interesting to kind of play these games, the hungry team, right? And I know it's kind of maybe it's a cliche thing to say, but Minnesota Timberwolves last night had to be hungry to come out strong, right? So I played Anthony Edwards over 6.5 points in the first quarter. I think there is ways to do that. With the Denver Nuggets and then even with the Cavaliers, would there be any first quarter plays you'd be looking at?
It's funny because the zigzag theory has been such an important thing that we've talked about this week, and it has been winning all throughout the playoffs. It's just hard to figure out what that means in a series like this because the Nuggets are coming off the loss in game 2. You would think that they're the hungrier team, but at the same time, OKC lost home court advantage in game 1, so they still have the hunger of needing to win that back in game 3. So I don't really know if it applies here. And with the Cavaliers, that game is another one where they definitely need to win that game more than the Pacers do. But at the same time, like I said, it's Indiana's playing their first home game. They really need to win this one, I believe, to take the pressure off. So I don't know where the zigzag theory comes into play here. I do like first quarter plays when it is just a standard team coming off a loss, needing a win. But these are interesting series, so I can't really answer.
Our very own Zach Cohen joining us here on VSiN By The Books. Follow him at Betting on X, and a lot of great content from Zach and the rest of our NBA handicappers on VSiN.com. Let me get your initial thoughts for tomorrow's action. And again, I still don't know how the NBA messed this up from a scheduling standpoint. How do you not have MSG, at least at night? I get it. You want to have both games and get the window. But 3:35 Eastern, your matinee tip time, as the Celtics try and get on the board in that series. They're down 0-2 against the Knicks. They are currently a 5-point favorite, 204 the total. And this in the erroneous department, but seeing some courtside seats, I was mentioning this to Keith, upwards of $45,000 a piece. Courtside. I mean, what are we doing here? Do we see white smoke here for the Knicks? And does it coexist here with Pope Leo giving him the extra push here to continue this dominance against the Celtics thus far?
Yeah, I can't believe that's an afternoon game. It's shocking to me. I am going to lay the points with the Celtics. I know, you're going to hear it beaten to death over the next couple of days, but they can't possibly shoot this bad again. I know we said that going in from game 1 to game 2, but the statistics, it only gets stronger, saying that there's going to be a bounce back performance from 3 coming up here shortly. I do give the Knicks a lot of credit for just the way that they've scratched and clawed in this series. Weaker teams would have just rolled over and lost these games by 30 points and not even force the Celtics to take better shots. But I do think Boston's missed a ton of good looks in this series. I think that even in the final, 8 minutes of that game where they went really cold against New York and, ended up blowing that game, there was some open corner threes for Horford, some open corner threes for Tatum, some really good looks for Jaylen Brown and Derek White. I just can't see them continuing to miss them. And I do think that the defense is going to be alive in this game, just, with their backs against the wall. I don't think this is a team that's ready to quit. I think that they feel they could win 4 in a row against this New York team. I'm not sure that's the way it's going to go. I just do think they're going to win one of these 2 games in New York by a pretty big margin.
Guys, let me paint a picture for you really quickly. It has nothing to do with betting whatsoever. So a 3:30 start for the Knicks. Let's go under the assumption the Knicks win, right? So that would mean you have your fan base starting their activities probably around 1:30 in the afternoon. Game is over by, 6 o'clock, and more activities might continue. I don't want to be in New York City on Saturday night. I'm just saying. To throwing it out to both of you guys.
It's going to be like SantaCon over there.
Yes.
I'm avoiding it.
Oh, my God.
I'm avoiding it.
Oh, woo. Okay, about 30 seconds left with you, Zach. Timberwolves and Warriors will play game 3 of the Bay Area tomorrow as well, 8:35 Eastern tip time. Right now, T-Wolves 5-point favorite, total right at 200.5. Timberwolves, have to have the sense of, you don't want this series prolonged to allow Steph more recovery time, right?
No, I think there's a real sense of desperation for the Timberwolves to win this before Steph comes back. And I will say it's not anything that I've read or heard. It's just kind of eye test. I don't think Jimmy Butler's looked like the same guy since he took that spill in game 2 of the Rockets series. And I think they need him to be absolutely 100%, maybe even 105%, whatever playoff Jimmy is. They need him to score 35 plus to win without Steph, because there's just not enough offensive firepower without Steph out there. There might not even be enough offensive firepower with Steph out there. I thought Minnesota was going to win this series. I know they played really poorly in game 1, but I do think without Steph, it's going to be pretty easy for the Timberwolves to win these games.
Pacers money line and the Joker, 2 or more made threes. The plays here from our very own Zach Cohen. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Zach Cohen right there for us at Betting on X. Give him a follow on social media. Joined us on the Progressive Guest Line. Our best bets coming up next. What do we have on the association as well as the ice coming up?
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books right here on VSiN.
Great catch Catching up with Zach Cohen in our previous segment, VSiN.com, to catch all his great content, picks, and information from all our fabulous NBA handicappers. Time now for our best bets, brought to you by G Bank, official bank of VSiN. Keith, we're talking before the break, not only a play in the association for you tonight, but also a Major League Baseball prop that you want to explain to viewers. What do you have?
Yeah, all right. So let's start off with the play that I'm all in on first. So Tyrese Halliburton, I think there are a lot of different ways to attack Tyrese Halliburton because of the series that he's had and because of the whole overrated thing, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm going to go with rebounds, and you're going to go, Keith, you're crazy. Why rebounds? Well, plus value. Plus 102, so a little bit over even money to get over 4.5 rebounds. Now, you would go, all right, so during the regular season, at home, what were his rebounds number like? Well, I have that for you, 3.6. So clearly we wouldn't win at that point. But during this playoff run, we have seen all of his rebounding numbers go up. In actuality, 6 of the 7 playoff games that the Pacers have played, he has gone over 4.5 rebounds. 7, 5, 7, 8, 5, 3, and 9. Those are your numbers. He had 9 rebounds in game number 2. So what we're seeing is a guard who is willing to go after the loose balls. So what that means is when there's missed shots, he can almost accidentally get 2 or 3 rebounds. So what I'm asking for is, can he get me 2 more? And he averaged almost 4 in the year. It makes a lot of sense that he could get over the 4.5 and again, plus 102. You could find other ways. You want to go 3-point routes with him, you can do that too. All right. You want to get into my baseball conversation, or do you want to react to my Halliburton there first?
Nope. I love it. Give me your pick. I think it's a good one too, especially at Coors Field.
Cool. So, all right. So Manny Machado, he's on fire right now, right? 8-game hitting streak. So when that happens, and when they're playing at a good place, and it's a good matchup against Antonio Senzatella, who Machado is 9 for 23, so that's a batting average of about 400, 4 doubles and a home run. So you're finding a way, how can I get in the Manny Machado business? The way my mind works, and I've been doing this now for the last 4 or 5 years as a baseball capper, when I was doing Better's Eye for MLB Network, a lot of times I'm sending over my notes at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning to the producer so they can start prepping things, right? So I'm trying to find the player I like, then I'm trying to find a prop I like. So as of last night when I was crunching these, in my head, I said over 1.5 total bases if it's the right price, or over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs if it's the right price. All the books have now given 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Now it's about minus 135, minus 140. It's digestible. It's not something I tend to play because if you're going to go the over 2.5, I feel like you might as well just hit a home run, right? So then I'll go, okay, Keith, let's look at the total bases. Every book is anywhere from minus 165 to minus 180, not playable on the total bases. So basically what I've come to is I'm going to probably stay away from Machado unless you're going to go home run there. I typically don't do the 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, and I throw it back to you. 2.5 on the hits, runs, RBIs. Is that something you play, Jensen? Because I go 1.5. I don't go to the 2.5.
In this situation where and how bad the Rocky pitching staff, we just saw in a doubleheader, they're going to be decimated, so they're going to try and leave Senzatella out there for a little bit longer. That would be a situational spot that would be digestible to be able to kind of go over the 2.5. Multiple ABs, multiple opportunities to do damage, and as you said, still just takes one swing to hit that over 2.5. By the way, $1.98 favorite. The Padres are right now at circa. They're $1.66 at DraftKings. Again, so shop around. If you do like the Padres today, that total already going from 11 to 11.5, now minus $1.10. Both ways there on DraftKings. And by the way, if you want to jump in also on not only the MLB betting here, but also the NBA playoffs, ProfitX, the place to do it. Offering the best odds all season long. Peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40 or more states. You'll be able to make your picks against not only just groups of fans, but you'll be able to do it against them instead of sports books. So again, guaranteeing you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%, and you can even request your own odds if you want. Download ProfitX today with code VSiN and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. I do like the Cavaliers tonight, minus $1.35 on the money line. That has since ballooned, and it continues to go up here. Minus $1.62 on DraftKings. They are a 3.5 point favorite now. That has gone up an entire point since we started this show, Keith. So again, I may be betting with my heart here, but I will take it. So again, at Circa, still a more palatable price at minus $1.48 if you want to get rid of the spread. And they still have 2.5 there on the spread. So better numbers to get at Circa than DraftKings for that tilt. 4 plays in Major League Baseball for me thus far, Keith. I will take the under, and I may have to hold my nose here since it is Patrick Corbin Day going for the Rangers against the Tigers and that offense. They did play 2 games yesterday, so maybe a little fatigue here, but Tarek Skubal against the Ranger offense, I do like the under 7.5 in that tilt. 6:40 first pitch time there at Comerica Park. That one juiced a little bit to the over there at Circa. And also, again, that same price, minus $1.08 on the under. Padres, Rockies, I mentioned, already on the over 11. That is now at 11.5. I'm going to take a stab at a couple of bad offenses and hope that the bad pitching prevails here, though, in this Orioles and Angels tilt, okay? This one out on the West Coast, as you see the numbers there on the VSiN Watch app, VSiN.com. That's 11.5 now, the Padre price on the over in Mile High against the Rockies. Tonight, Orioles and Angels. Now, again, hear me out on this because it's Tomoyuki Sagano who's going for the Orioles, Kyle Hendricks for the Angels. Baltimore has been bad all year. There's no getting around it. Night games, usually at Angel Stadium, not conducive to a lot of offense, but I'm going to take my stab here and I'll make a stand. The over was even money when I got it. It's now minus $1.12 to the over 9.5 at DraftKings. It's still even money at Circa if you want to grab it. But I do think both these pitchers are primed for some regression. And for the first time, I can say that the Orioles offense will actually get to a pitcher and they will get to Kyle Hendricks tonight. So I did take a stab also at the Orioles run line. Got them at plus $1.05. It's at plus $1.10 right now at both Circa and DraftKings. So again, those are my 4 plays in pocket for Major League Baseball. Rangers, Tigers under 7.5. Padres, Rockies over 11, now up to 11.5. And the Orioles and Angels over 9.5 at even money. Orioles run line plus $1.05. And again, if you want to jump in on all these, we highly encourage you to load up on the GBank Visa signature card. You can do that today because the way to do it, it's way better than anything else. Most credit card companies will treat sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances. What you want to do is be able to get that GBank Visa signature card because it will treat those gaming transactions as purchases, and you'll save 3 to 5% on the cash advance fees. You also get 2% cashback rewards on all eligible purchases with that GBank Visa signature card. Go to VSiN.com/GBank to apply today. Again, VSiN.com/GBank. Buddy, it has been great to be with you the last 3 days. Super Dave Ross will be back with us in his customary post on Monday. Things you're looking for over the weekend. You mentioned the activities, and I think it bears repeating for the Knicks game tomorrow because I can only imagine the scene.
I'm just saying.
Not only the hype, not only the energy going into Madison Square Garden tomorrow, but if they do win, what does that euphoria look like spilling out of that arena tomorrow evening and into the lateness of the night?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're adults, right? Like, I use the word activities. I was trying to be cute and funny, but like, you know what I mean. If people are out there drinking from 1 o'clock in the afternoon and then they're winning a game and they're up 3-0 and you're beating the Boston Celtics and you're feeling good and suddenly it's 8 p.m. in New York City and you've been having activities since 1 o'clock, the city's going to be a place I'm avoiding. Like, if I were going to the Knicks game, cool, whatever, I'd go and I'd go home. I'm not going to the Knicks game. I don't have that kind of money to spend. Jensen, if you want to wire me the money for it, feel free. I mean, you said you enjoyed hanging out with me this week. I mean, maybe.
If we're going together, and perhaps not into the 45K per courtside seat, but I'm sure we can have some connections to find a low seat. But again, I can't even imagine. Again, Knicks 5-point dogs plus $1.90 on the money line. If it happens, my man.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Yikes.
Hey, really quick, by the way, so you like the Cavaliers to win tonight, just to get you some better odds if you wanted to, go Cavs money line and then take Donovan Mitchell, because you assume he has to have a good game in order for them to win. Take Donovan Mitchell to get his point total over 29.5, so he scores 30, Cavaliers win, plus 152.
Love it. We will hope and pray that this is actually a series when we come back on Monday morning. But, buddy, have a great weekend. Enjoy that pool opening there at the Irizarry household. And some great sports watching from poolside as well. That is going to do it for this edition of VSiN By The Books. Keep it locked here on Sirius Channel 158 and, of course, on the VSiN Watch app. A numbers game with Gil Alexander comes up next. He'll have Jason Weingarten on for all his best bets for Major League Baseball today. Stormy Bonatoni, great job again on the Edmonton and Vegas broadcast on ESPN Sideline. She and JVT at noon, and then Prop Points at 2 p.m. For Keith Irizarry, I'm Jensen Lewis. We'll talk to you next week.